Hello and welcome. I'm Padraig King, and I'm delighted that you're here with me tonight. I'd like to say a big thank you to Michael Mulcahy and to the entire Kinesiology Association of Ireland Committee for inviting me to do this presentation tonight to help you to reset and to rewire your brain. So to help me now to get some feedback, because I run on feedback, I'm going to invite you to put your name into the chat box. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk to you about the We FM. Every time that you go to an event, every time you attend training, every time you do something, there's a question that comes up in your mind, and it's, what is it? What is in this for me? So what will be in this for you tonight is an opportunity to reset your brain, to switch off the anxiety, the stresses that you are aware of, and to rewire your brain so that we can eliminate the source of many of the stresses and the anxieties that you feel and that you experience every day. What this will do is will help you to live more confidently, more calmly, more peacefully, and more productively. So how are you feeling right now? Or some of you may be tired, some of you may be exhausted, some of you may be burnt out or frustrated because of all of this rushing around, and no rushing at all. In fact, just the boredom could be killing some people. And the whole fact that we're locked down, that we don't have our freedom, it can be affecting you in many different ways. As we know, there are 4 different types of stress. There's physiological, which can affect the body. There's the electrical energy of the body, which can be affected. There's the emotional energy, and there's the chemical energy. And all of these play an important part in helping you to be at your best. So what makes you stressed? Well, it could be COVID and all of the lockdowns. It could be financial stress. It could be family stress. It could be so many different things. You don't need to tell me. Just become aware of what it is at the moment yourself. So how do we recognize when we are stressed? Well, quite often we have an inability to be calm and to be still. So we need to fidget, we need to move, we need to get up and get out. Sometimes we're obsessed with recurring thoughts, and we have thought patterns that are negative, or we have worry patterns that we go through. And for some people, it's a restlessness. They can have restless legs, restless feet, restless fingers. Some people have developed twitches and other things again. And quite often, these are signals of distress in the body. For some people, they may have developed shortness of breath. Others may be feeling cold, or they may have sweaty hands or cold feet or sweaty feet or whatever it is. And this is all part of the physiological response to being stressed. For some people, they have problems with sleeping, can't sleep enough or can't sleep at all, can't get to sleep or can't stay asleep. And for others, they may be aware that they're feeling fear and unease, that they have a dread hanging over them. And these are just simple signs of anxiety and stress. What I have found in my work is that fear is, in fact, the root of all your distress. And when you eliminate the fear, you can help the body to relax and to release, to reset and to become rewired so that you can function much more comfortably and calmly. So what happens when you become distressed? Well, many different things happen, but I'm interested in looking at the way the brain operates when you become distressed. When you become distressed, areas of the brain get priority, and the areas at the back of the brain, just in here, this area here is the area that is most affected by stress. This is your survival brain, and when you're working on your survival brain, this part of your brain takes precedence over everything else. All the resources rush in here, all of the other areas of the brain become subordinate. And this area has your reflexes, it has your automatic reactions, it has your instincts in there. And these are designed to help you to survive in an emergency. But what we're looking for is we're looking to help you to move on from there and to move the resources back into the frontal areas of your brain, just inside your forehead, where you have your capacity to think using logic and creativity, your capacity to take responsibility for yourself and for your actions, to make good decisions, to communicate effectively and efficiently, to cooperate with other people, and to get their cooperation so that things can get done. This area of your brain also allows you to learn, to adapt, and to recall information much more efficiently and effectively. When you are stuck in your survival brain, then you are far more emotional, you're more irrational than you are when the resources at the front of your brain. You're certainly more fearful, and security becomes a priority for you. Your self-preservation becomes the key to everything that you do. You tend to doubt, you tend to disbelieve, you tend to be cynical, you can even be hurtful to others and to yourself. And you can be quite stubborn because you don't have any point of view except your own. Now, the area at the back of your brain, this area here, the spinal area, would have a mental age approximately of about 2. The area in the midbrain, where we have our sensory and motor area, would have a mental age of about 7. And then the frontal and prefrontal lobes, I would say, are the adult brain that we all aspire to have. And when we have the adult brain switched on, we have our logic, creativity, we make good decisions, and we are acting as human as possible. But if you're the adult, if you could see your brain as being like a car, then there's a part of you that needs to act like an adult. So if you're driving a car and you've got a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old in the back seat, then the 2-year-old is very quickly going to want to be reassured that you're still thinking about them, that you are still there, and they're going to be asking you questions. They're going to be telling you they're hungry, they're tired, they're cranky, they need to be changed, whatever it is. They're going to be communicating with you, and they're going to be telling you about their needs. The 7-year-old is going to be asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And you have to, if you're going to be the adult and you're going to have peace in the car, and you're going to make the journey and arrive there with everybody comfortable and calm and peaceful and happy, then you've got to find ways to reassure them, and you've got to find ways to make them feel happy. So that's what I'm going to be helping you to do tonight. I'm going to be giving you ways to calm down and to reassure and to engage the different components of your brain so that they all cooperate together. So if you're the adult in the car and you've got a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, you might play games like I Spy. You might play, you may start singing songs. You may tell them a story. They may fall asleep, whatever it is. But what you want to do is you want to reassure them, and you want to engage them, and you want to make the most of the opportunity that you have to connect with them. And even though your back is to them, you can still connect with them on a deep level. So if you're still with me, just type OK in the comments section, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, what we're going to do next is I'm going to help you to reset your system, and then we're going to go on and rewire your brain. So before we go there, we have to look at what you really need. You have physiological needs, you have safety needs, you have love and belonging needs, you have self-esteem needs, and you have self-actualization needs. And each of these combined makes up what we call Maslow's pyramid of needs. And for me, being able to meet all of these needs, the easiest way that I can do it is to work with kinesiology, because it helps me to provide solutions that people can use themselves. I can show them the solution, and then they can begin to use them themselves with a self-responsibility model. So I have put together a list of 10 different activities, and these 10 different activities have been sometimes called the 10 brilliant brain boosters because of what they actually do within the brain. So what do you need? Well, this is what I'm looking at here. One of the big things that you need to be sure that you have the resources that you need is oxygen. You need oxygen, you need water, you need shelter, you need a sense of being accepted into a community, into a relationship. You need to be able to control your temperature. You need to be able to monitor your nutrition, and you need to be able to absorb your nutrition. You need to have a sense of security, both internal security and external security. You need to have a sense of personal space, and you need to be able to determine where you move forward to. You need self-determination. So to help you to do these, one of the activities that I use is redirect the blood flow manually. And when we begin to redirect the blood flow manually, one of the things that I find very useful is to place the hand flat across the forehead. And as you leave your hand there, you're not just holding the ESR points, which we're familiar with in kinesiology, but you're actually putting a hand across a series of the Chinese acupuncture meridians. You may be touching on the gallbladder. You may be touching on the triple worm, the stomach meridian, the governing meridian. You may be touching on the small intestine. If your fingers stretch far enough over towards your ears, you could actually be touching as far as the small intestine. So there's quite a few meridians that you're actually in contact with just here. But what's more important is that when you leave your hand here, it seems to have the effect of bringing blood supply manually into the thinking part of your brain, into the part of your brain that allows you to become the adult, that gives you the ability to think clearly, logically, creatively, that allows you to make good decisions, that allows you to make choices for yourself and make choices that are beneficial for yourself and for other people. The second activity I'm going to show you has to do with oxygen maximization. So you put your thumbs together at the first sternal notch. If you move your hand down along your sternum, you'll find that there's two notches in your sternum. And the top one is the one we're working on. Put your thumbs together there, just resting on this. Take a deep breath in through your nose and allow your breath to go all the way down towards your bottom of your stomach, expanding your stomach as your diaphragm pushes down. And as you exhale, just pull in on your belly button ever so slightly and exhale fully. This allows you to get more oxygen into your body, which is then used throughout your body and throughout your brain. The area at the very front is hungry for oxygen, but it's also hungry for water and for nutrition. So the next activity we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to take a sip of water. And as you hold that sip of water in your mouth, hold it for long enough until you get a flow of saliva. And this will in turn tell your brain and your body that a water is available. If you have strong flavors in your mouth because you've had coffee or curry, or you've had some other strong flavors, then you may be useful to swish around in your mouth with the water and swallow, and then take some sips after that, just to clear your palate, to clear your taste buds, and then begin sipping and holding once again. So when you take a sip of water and you hold it in your mouth, you wait until you get a flow of saliva. As you bring the water to your mouth, you're seeing the water. You're smelling the water, whether you're conscious of it or not. You're feeling the water. You're feeling the temperature of the water with your hand on the outside of the glass, but you're feeling the water with your lips. So 3 senses are involved there. Next, you taste the water. So you've got seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And if you just pour the water into the glass from a tap, from a jug, from someplace else, then you've also heard the water. So all senses are involved. And when you take a sip of water and you hold it for long enough for the saliva to be produced, then your brain and your body know that water is available. If you take a number of sips and you wait for the saliva flow every time, then your brain and your body get the message that there's an adequate supply of water here. In fact, there's a surplus of water here. There's plenty. So the brain and the body begin to release stored water within the brain and the body. And this allows you to have extra water available for the thinking part of your brain, the neocortex and the frontal lobes. And that's essential if you're going to have good, clear thinking and you're going to hold your concentration for more than a few seconds. The next item we need is shelter and protection. And the way in which I help people to develop this level of shelter and feeling protected is using Cook's hookups. So I'm going to invite you to cross your ankles and to fold your arms and interlock your fingers. Put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and suck there gently. And with your eyes closed, just picture some positive outcomes. Picture something peaceful and calm for you, something relaxing, something that will take you into a peaceful state of body and state of mind. When you're ready, I'm going to take you forward into the next activity, which is the second part of Cook's hookups. And this is where you put your finger pads together. Not your fingertips, but your finger pads. And this is the way I do it. And the reason I do it is because you have many sensor pads in your fingertips, but you have far more in your finger pads. And when you get the signal coming through from even one of your finger pads that says, I'm touching something, and it's about the same temperature as myself. It's soft, it's yielding, it's not pushing me away, it's accepting my touch. Then the brain begins to realize, this could be human. I'm being accepted by somebody. And then you get that message tenfold because each of your pads is actually giving that information. So this is very powerful because once you feel accepted, you begin to drop your defenses. You begin to relax within yourself. And you begin to switch off the fight or flight reflex. You were also helping to switch off the fight or flight reflex with the Cook's hookups. When you crossed your ankles, you indicated to your body that there was no emergency to rush off to. When you folded your arms and interlaced your fingers, you were indicating to your body that there was no emergency that you had to deal with. You didn't have to fight or defend yourself or your family. You didn't have to build a shelter. You didn't have to pick or grow food. You didn't have to do anything, in fact. So your body is getting subtle messages as you're doing the Cook's hookups. And these messages are helping to switch on, which bring down the level of anxiety inside and to switch down the amount of fight or flight reflex that's happening inside. As you're sucking gently on the roof of your mouth, you're unable to argue with people, so you're not fighting verbally or physically. You're not having to defend yourself. In fact, as you're sucking on the roof of your mouth, you're triggering your brain to produce dopamine, which is a chemical that allows you to relax completely. And this is the same chemical that a baby produces within their brain and body that allows them to drift off into sleep when they're halfway through a feed, because they become so mellow, so relaxed, and so at peace. Just breathe in and breathe out and relax. And with your finger pads there holding together, just allow yourself now to picture the positive outcome that you want to achieve. Maybe there's a task that you've been setting yourself, something that you want to put on the long finger, or you feel that you should do it, but you keep putting it off. Then when you feel accepted, when you feel connected, it's much easier to do it, because you don't have to spend that time focusing on your emergencies, focusing on the other things. You can begin to focus on getting the job done. Temperature control. Now, some of you may have been in a situation where you have a hot flush or a cold flush, in fact a shiver, and you're unable to do anything about it because you're not in control of the temperature of the room or the place that you're in. But there are 3 points, well, there are a few points on the body that help you to regulate your temperature. Some of you may be aware of the ones on your arms and different places, but the ones that I like to use are on the sides of your temples, just at the edge of your eyebrows. And when you bring your 3 fingers together at each temple, just there at the end of your eyebrows, and you hold this, you wait for the pulses that are there to begin to synchronize. And once they have synchronized, you allow them to beat for about 40 pulses. So take your time. This is not a rush game. But what it does is it calms down the chemistry within your body. It helps to regulate your temperature. It helps to regulate all of the hormones within your body. We're working with the triple warmer, which is your thymus, your thyroid, and your hypothalamus. When you're ready, I'm going to take you into the next activity, which has to do with nutritional absorption. And when you absorb food, you make the most of it. But for many people, they're so stressed that they don't absorb their food correctly. So you can bring people to food, you can bring food to them. You can give people the best of food, but if they're not able to absorb the nutrients that are in it, then it will be of very little value to them. So for this particular activity, I use the belly breathing, and I invite people to breathe in gently and softly in through their nose all the way down into their abdomen, expanding and contracting the abdomen, and then to spread out the 5 fingers around the belly button. And each of the fingers is actually representing one of the Chinese acupuncture elements. You've got the fire, you've got the earth, you've got the metal, you've got the water, and you've got the wood. And within those elements, you have 12 Chinese acupuncture meridians. I'm going to invite you then to put the other hand across your forehead. And as you do, you're connecting up the governing meridian with all of the other meridians that are floating through your head, through your forehead. But more importantly, when you suck gently on the roof of your mouth as you're doing this, you're connecting the central and the governing, so you have all 14 meridians working together, bringing about a natural balance, a peaceful balance, all working in harmony with each other. And when we're doing this, within a minute or two, you will hear gurgling going on in the client's stomach, or in your own stomach if you're doing it. And the reason for this is that peristalsis begins again. For many of us, when we become anxious, the peristalsis slows down or stops completely. It's why so many people have constipation. So many people have irritable bowel, because the blood supply keeps switching on and switching off. Every time you get stressed, it gets switched off because the blood supply is pulled away, and you get that dreadful dead feeling in your stomach. So when you feel ready, I'm going to move on to the next activity. And this one has to do with security. Security in your environment, in your visual environment. So place one hand at your center of gravity, and with your other hand, just rub your K27 points, just there under your collarbones on both sides of your sternum. And as you rub these points, track your eyes gently and slowly from side to side, from left to right or right to left. And I explain this to people sometimes as a hunter gets up in the morning and walks out to the mouth of the cave, which is halfway up a mountain. And using their eyes, they scan the entire horizon and they check out for all signs of danger and any sign of food, any herd that might be on the move, any food that might be available, any tree that seems to have ripened overnight, or anything at all. And you track from side to side, slowly and gently as you rub the K27 points. And then when you're ready, you swap hands again. And you continue tracking just to be sure that you didn't miss anything. And when you've done this a few times, what you'll find is that you can adapt much more easily into a situation, into any place. So it's a great idea to do this when you go into a strange environment where you may have to work, you may have to survive in that situation, you may have to present in that situation, you may have to be in that situation for a while, and initially it may feel uncomfortable for you or it may feel strange. But using this simple activity, you can actually own the environment. You can be master of all that you survey, literally. Next, I'm going to talk to you about the second activity that I use for security, and this is the activity that we use for auricular inhibition or auricular facilitation. And so we put the fingers behind the ear, we put the thumb in front, and we unroll the ears from the inside out, from the center to the edges. We work our way from the top of the ear right down to the bottom. And the purpose of doing this is to release all of the tension that's being held in the ears, in the muscles associated with the ears, and to activate a particular filtering system that we have in the brain called the reticular filtering system. And when you are doing this with both ears, then what happens is you help yourself to filter out the sounds you don't want to hear, and you help yourself to focus on the sounds that you do wish to hear. So maybe you're living at home and next door they have music on too loud. You can filter out that sound and you can block it off from your awareness simply by doing this activity. And if you hear the music again, do the activity again, because the reticular filtering system needs to be topped up frequently. So this is a simple activity that can help. It's also very useful for children on the autistic spectrum and anybody who is hypersensitive to noise. And the more stressed we become, the more hypersensitive we are to noise and to other disruptions and distractions. So this is a simple activity that you can do and that you can show to anybody, which helps to improve the quality of your life, and it helps you to feel more secure in your environment. Then when it comes to developing your sense of personal space, one of the best ways to do this is to start cross-crawling. And when I do cross-crawl, I invite the person to bring their knee up to hip height and to touch the palm of the hand and the fingers to the inside of the opposite knee. And the reason we use the fingers and the palm on the inside of the knee as opposed to the classic cross-crawl, which was touched at the top of the knee, is because in the sensors of the palm and the fingers, you have much more feedback coming to the brain. On the inside of your knee, you have far more sensors than you have on your kneecap. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking a person back to the sensory feed that they got when they were creeping on the ground. And while you're creeping on the ground, you're developing a pattern of movement that gives you the capacity to move on to crawling. But if you don't creep first and you jump straight into crawling, then you may have missed out on many of the neural connections that can be made between the left and the right hand side. And so I use this activity, and I'd use it as slowly as possible. Because the more slowly you can do the activity, the better the balance of the person is going to be, number one. And number two, the more they become aware of where they are in space. And that's the prerequisite to having personal space. There's a version of the cross call, which I'm going to show you now, which is much more easily to do at sitting down. And this is where you touch your, say for example, you touch your right hand to your nose, or your right index finger to your nose, and your left index finger goes to the opposite ear. And then you swap over, bringing the left index finger to your nose and the right index finger to your left ear. And then very slowly you swap over again, so that the right index finger is now on your nose and the left index finger is on your right ear. And then you swap again, and the left index finger is on your nose and the right index finger is on your opposite ear. And if you do this slowly, it can have a powerful effect in helping to calm down the body, helping to calm down the mind, helping to connect up the thinking, so that you get far more joined up thinking. And that could only be a good thing. So we've done the resetting of your system using the 10 activities. And now I would like to go on and to help you to rewire your brain. And when we move forward to rewire your brain, what we're working on is a simple activity that will, a visualization that will rewire the neural pathways in your brain. So I'm going to invite you now to relax in kuksu cups and just listen. All you have to do is just listen. So as you breathe in and breathe out, I'm going to invite you to cross your ankles, fold your arms, suck gently on the roof of your mouth, and with your eyes closed, just become aware of that space above your head where all of your thoughts are floating around. All your memories, all your fears, all your happy moments. Just imagine that they're like a cloud above there, sitting above your head. And bring your awareness into that space. And just feel what it feels like to be there. Just imagine that you could eliminate all of that negativity and all that fear. And allow it to drain down through your body, down into the earth. And then bring your awareness down into your brain, into the live thoughts that you're having right now. And anywhere that there's any doubt, anywhere that there's any fear, anywhere that there are hidden patterns that you don't know, that you don't want to have, hidden patterns of behavior, hidden patterns of anxiety, just allow them to drain down through your body and down into the earth below, leaving your mind clear and clean, relaxed and comfortable. Now bring your awareness down into your forehead and into that space behind your eyes, and allow yourself to eliminate all of the things that you've seen that you wish you hadn't. And allow yourself to begin to see all of those things that you would hope for, that you had hoped to see, but that you've never held, that you've never been able to touch. Just allow them now to relax and to move into a certain balance, like the lazy 8 or the infinity sign, tracing up over your left eyebrow, around the back of your ear, back across your cheekbone and over your nose, up over your right eyebrow, around your right ear, and back up on the cheekbone, across the bridge of your nose, creating a beautiful balance. Allowing your eyes to relax, allowing your body to relax, peacefully and calmly, slowly and gently. Just allow yourself now to bring your awareness down into your throat. And here, just imagine that you could see all of the things that you've said that you wish you hadn't said. All the things that you've heard that you wish you hadn't heard. Just allow them to drain away down into the earth. And in their place, put the things that you wish you had said and say those things now. Allow you to change the course of history somehow. Peacefully and slowly and gently too. Bring your awareness down into your heart space in the center of your chest. And release all of the heartache and the pain and the grief and the shame and the guilt and the panic and any other negativity that may be sitting in there. All those hurts from now and go. Just let them drain away now and let them go. And when you're ready, bring your awareness down into your solar plexus, into your intestines, all the way down to your pelvic floor. And release and relax and let go of all of those things that no longer serve you. As your brain and your body release and let them go, let them flow down into the floor, never to be seen again. Down to be recycled and turned into something more positive and peaceful. Bring your awareness into your legs, right down into your feet. And let go of all those times in the past when you've landed on your bottom, when you've fallen on your knees, when you've been kicked in the shins, when you wished that the ground would open up and swallow you because of shame, because of guilt, because of pain and panic and stress. Just let go and let them drain away. And instead, allow yourself to have the power and the energy in your feet that you need so that you can stand tall and strong, completely at peace. And while you're resting there now, just bring your awareness to the inside of your mind and open up a great big canvas. And on that canvas, just see all the patterns of your mind, all the patterns of thought and behavior. And allow yourself to see them in different colors, with one specific color for those patterns that you'd like to change. The ones that don't serve you anymore. The ones that feel out of your range. And yet they control your behavior. They control your reactions. So just bring your awareness to one single one of these. And it doesn't matter whether it happened to be created when you were in the womb, before you were fully conscious, when you were a teenager, when you were an adult, doesn't matter. Just allow yourself now to pick up that bundle of neurons, that chain reaction, and allow yourself to crumble it so that the pieces fall together into the recycling bin. And in its place, put in the kind of response that you would like to have. The kind of response that you can be proud of and that brings a smile to your face. Where you can be in control of how you're thinking and feeling, how you're acting and speaking. When you face situations where you previously reacted and flew off the handle, or you lost confidence in yourself, or whatever it was. Now, this new pathway will become the direct route to peace and to competence, to confidence for you. So move now to another one of the same color, another pattern that was laid down at a time of crisis, a time of stress. And let's pluck that out, crumble it into the recycling bin, and send it off to be recycled into positive, peaceful energy. And in its place, put in a new connection, a connection that allows you to respond appropriately, to make the best decisions, to say the right things, to do the right things in the right way, and to get the right results. Comfortably, calmly, peacefully, safely, and easily for everybody. And just notice how it feels as you move along from those negative patterns, having taken control over two situations now. Just allow your brain to continue this process of replacing the neurons and the neuron connections, the neural connections that have driven your reactions, that have driven you into a rage, into panic, into fear. And at some stage it was appropriate to have that, but it hasn't been appropriate since, because now you know better ways. There are more appropriate ways to deal with life and to deal with life situations. And you're already beginning to recognize this. And each night as you sleep, give your brain and your body permission to continue replacing those negative patterns so that you can gradually become more and more the true self that you are. And that you will not just have reset your brain, but that you will be rewiring it continuously over and over again. And once those patterns are gone and recycled, they'll never come back. You have the option to stay clearly on track to become the person that you were always destined to be, with those old patterns of reactions were blocking you entirely. So breathe in and breathe out, and when you're ready, gradually come back to where you are right now. And when you feel comfortable, take a deep breath and hold it. And as you release and open your eyes, just relax. And notice that the world looks slightly different. And don't be surprised, because now you're responding. You're responding more appropriately than ever before. We've only changed 2 neural pathways inside, but each night you can replace more and more. So relax.